All right, welcome to Give Me the Mic, special edition Law and Order. I'm your host Bailey. Again, our Give Me the Mic segments are to motivate, inspire, and cultivate our future leaders and highlight real stories and authentic journeys. We're going to share some game, insight, and opportunities with the community. We're going to continue to have a platform for culture, growth, and elevation. Got an exciting guest today that came right out of our salon, and we'll talk to her about her journey, some amazing things that she's doing in the community, and some gems and real talk for those that are looking at making some dynamic changes in their life. And we know that every journey starts with that first initial step. So I'm excited to bring to the stage Corena Deniece.
Thank you so much for inviting me out, girl. I've been so stressed.
Girl, you are so welcome. But listen, who did your hair?
Oh, all dolled up.
What is that?
All Dolled Up is a series of stores and salons all throughout South Florida. I get my hair silked out every month. I can do that because I'm part of the Texture Club.
Girl, well, I need to get to All Dolled Up and sign up for this texture club. You look amazing.
And cheers to that.
Just like everyone, my life is jam-packed. I'm always on the move. Whether it's personal or business, I live in the fast lane. But self-care, mentally and physically, is top priority for me. That's why I'm a part of the Texture Club at my favorite salon. They always treat you like family, and that experience leaves me wanting more. So instead of worrying about my ends, treatments, and styles, my easy monthly subscription to the Texture Club solves everything. I let the pros focus on my hair, so I can focus on the other things that matter in my life.
I'm Corena D. Wiggins, Deputy Editor for the State of the People Black Papers. By us, for us. Free of exaggerated jargon, written plainly in a language our people have always understood. Speak truth to power. The Black Papers are a labor of love from experts and practitioners who love Black people, who are challenging us to collectively leverage our power to expand on the progress attained by our ancestors. To dismantle a system working as designed against us, we must understand it to change it. The Black Papers are an entry point to learning more about the policy pillars that directly impact our lives, from housing to education, economics, healthcare, infrastructure, security, and social justice. Clear and concise calls to action are woven throughout the Black Papers, providing our communities with strategies to combat anti-Blackness and achieve tangible progress.
All right, awesome. Yo, Black Papers, we're gonna get into those Black Papers. So, forgive me, how do you say the name? Because I met you as somebody in the salon, but give us an introduction, a quick intro of yourself, as if I'm in an elevator on this meeting for the first time.
Well, hi, Bailey. Hey, everyone at Give Me the Mic. My name is Corena Wiggins, better known as Corena Deniece. So that's usually my moniker. I go by Corena Deniece, which is my first and middle names.
Corinna, so when we met, I mean, it was a quick conversation. I don't know how we got into the topic of specifically that led us to the show, but I know I always speak to everybody. I like to know people individually. I like to know what your journey is. So give me a little background of your journey so far.
Wow, a little background on my journey. So let's see, where do I start? I am born and raised from the city of Miami Gardens. Went to college at Florida State University, graduated, and then I kind of just stumbled into the world of education. So I have been an educator, college advisor for almost 20 years now. Started in college admissions, then on to the secondary level at high school. I used to be a BRACE advisor for Broward County Public Schools. For those of us in Broward County, we know BRACE is Broward Advisors for Continuing Education. So through that path, I would educate students and families and help them navigate what could be a very stressful process of applying to college and securing scholarships and applying for financial aid. Left the South Florida area around 2014 and relocated spontaneously to Brooklyn, New York, for about 7 years. Worked in charter schools there in Harlem. Continued my college counseling journey to where I was then teaching and creating college readiness curriculum, and engaging in some more highly selective admissions processes with students there. Relocated back to the South Florida area in the midst of a pandemic. Not expecting to stay home, but have now been back here for almost 5 years. And now I'm working in higher education, helping students obtain their doctorate degrees. So I've been in education for quite some time. I currently serve as the president and board chair for the Scholarship Plug Incorporated. We do have a national platform online. So we do offer a lot of virtual services. We also have a center, which I am actually at right now, in the city of Lauderhill. And our goal is breaking cycles and empowering futures, connecting students and families to available scholarships to transform their lives through education. So literally our motto is get paid to go to college. We want to create awareness of scholarship opportunities and help guide students to applying and securing scholarships. There's a lot of money out there that folks just don't know about. So we want to make sure that we're bringing attention and awareness to that, to let students and families know it is possible to have your education paid for. And that, you don't always have to drown in student debt. You have to put in a little hard work, but it can really result in something very tangible for you to get your education. So that's a little bit about me. With the education piece. And then I also have my passion work, which, Bailey, I think that's what we started talking about when I saw you in the salon that day. So I am
Oh,
a
and
political
that wasn't your
activist.
passion work? That was, this is your passion work we're going into? Because, man, if I've seen education, that resume right there was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, you've definitely shown you have the position to help, especially us in education, which we're going to get into a little bit deeper. But continue. What's the passion now?
Yeah. Well, my passion will always be students, young people, and making sure that they are taking the steps to achieve a quality education. But a piece that aligns with that passion is like my political activism, and making sure that the people I love and our people are aware of the things that impact our lives day to day, which is policy. And a lot of us know that, and a lot of us don't know that. And it's very important that we connect the dots to things that we care about, and how these policies shape those things that we care about or impact those things that we care about, and how we can tap in to make sure that we have the resources and the things that we need, not only for survival to preserve and protect our humanity, but for us to actually thrive in this society.
So I love, so I did check out the Black Papers. So give me the connection. So the state of the people and the Black Papers. Um, One, because like obviously I was a political science undergraduate. One thing we share in common, I was like, I knew I liked her for some reason. And she went to FSU. I was in FSU in 98 to 2002.
Oh, well, yeah, I came out after you. I was
Mhm. But
'02 to
basically,
'06.
yeah. But again, we're Seminoles. So I have a sister-in-law that's a Seminole, I have a brother-in-law that's a Seminole. So we all about the Seminole family over here, okay?
Yeah.
So I knew I liked you. But so again, so you have a what was your undergraduate degree? What was your kind of education background?
So my undergraduate degree is in psychology, and I have a minor in child development. And I am still in pursuit of trying to obtain my Juris Doctorate like you. So there's some ebbs and flows of life that I'm still trying to figure out with that. But it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely still um, on my bucket list of things to
All
do.
right. Again, I'm older. I was one of the people in the classroom. I used to be the youngest in the classroom. And now I was the oldest in the classroom. And what a vibe. It's a vibe, though, I'm telling you. With your energy, I mean, it's going to be a vibe. And again, I think it's one of those things we overlook is uh, one of those barriers is education. And if you can break down those barriers, whatever age, whatever gender, whatever race, those open up so many different opportunities for you. So I'm excited. And again, we'll be talking about the LSAT and your journey personally. So let's get to the black paper because a part of State of the People is this black papers. So what are they and why do these black papers matter?
Yes, thank you for asking that question. So, I would love to just, give your audience just some context about State of the People, who we are. So, Angela Rye, political commentator and attorney, and also Joyanne Reed, journalist, the Joy Reid Show. Last year, March, they came up with the idea to have counter programming with who I'll just refer to as the current occupant, State of the Union, and they came up with State of the People. So we had 24-hour counter programming with different experts from every area that you can think of: education, business, economics, science, basically talking about the state of our people, right? From that, then birth the State of the People Power Tour. We did like a 12 city tour last year. And basically, the goal is to visit different communities and provide mutual aid. Studies show when people have their needs met, they're more inclined to tap in civically and politically to what's going on. So we had different events, whether it's maybe a free produce giveaway, town halls, just a gathering and being in community with people, especially it was such a time where everything just felt so tense because of what we were walking into with the new administration. And just to show that, we have to stick together and we need to build community now more than ever. So that has been the birth of State of the People. One important component of the State of the People are the Black Papers Policy Project.
Hmm.
Right. So I have the privilege to serve as the deputy editor alongside Dr. David Johns, who is our editor in chief. He is also the CEO and executive director of the National Black Justice Coalition. And I just want to also show some love to some of my other colleagues on our team: Caitlin Radigan, who's our author liaison, Avani Lewis, who is our art director and lead graphic designer. So everything that you're seeing on the website now, those are Avani's designs, and Kelsey Morrow, our permissions coordinator. So this has been a labor of love. And the goal of the Black Papers, we wanted to create a present day, community focused policy agenda and really tap into our people and pretty much connect the dots. Here are the things that you care about. Here are the policies that affect those things. And here's where you can tap in. Because a lot of people want to get involved, but they're not quite sure where to start, how to go about the process. And we wanted to make everything very easy to read. Nothing with fancy jargon that was hard to understand. I know I'm a person, I just want it in plain English. Like, it doesn't need to
Right.
be fancy. I just want it straight, no chaser, so I can digest it. So they're very easy to read. We have over 100 Black experts from all kinds of fields. So you can find about 35 papers on our website, which you just saw on the screen, ranging from health equity, education, of course, reparations, land ownership, let's
Right.
see, digital equity, national security, and just kind of seeing how all of these pieces and these facets tie into our everyday life, especially a lot of the things that we've seen unfold in the past year, a lot of the rolling back of our rights that we have worked so hard to obtain, and where do we move forward in this present moment.
So let me pose the question there. So, State of the People. If you could what is the state of the people? Like, in layman's terms, everyone's has their own opinion, but what do you think the state of the people? Who are the people? Like,
Yeah, in layman's
what's our
terms,
state?
for us, the state of the people, we are specifically talking to our people, the Black community, and where we stand and how we are to navigate through all of the changes that are unfolding, all of the policies that have been rolled back, and how we can preserve and protect our humanity and essentially defend democracy and come to fruition the promise that this country has set on paper to actually bring that to life. So those are some of the things that we're focused on, and also we want to make sure we're providing hope and we're providing aid and tapping into people. It's been a really rough year for folks. Over 300,000 Black women leaving jobs and being forced out of the workforce. The rollback of diversity, equity, inclusion, book bans, right? We live in the state of Florida, which is, if I'm not mistaken, probably the state that has the most books banned. And just creating awareness that even though those books are banned in the classroom, we still have access to the books. We can support our Black bookstores, and we can still teach our children, outside of the classroom. Learning doesn't just happen in the classroom, it happens around the kitchen table, when you're having breakfast that morning or at dinner time or in our community
Right.
spaces, in the
So,
salon, right? When we're just talking.
so exactly. So one of my I'm gonna give not pushback, but alternative views, and I haven't read all the black papers, but they're so structured nicely. I want to touch on a few that kind of jumped at me. But one of the dialogues is when you talk about federalism, the powers of the state, the powers of the federal government, and then like again, I think there's the power of the community and the power of the culture. And if something's removed or taken away from us, is it our responsibility to get it back? I believe it's our responsibility to get it back from the household. We need to start those conversations, like I said, at a dinner table. Political activism, which this organization seems to be immediately a response to a political regime change. So, with the black paper, it gives you a strategy as well on how to move forward in any environment. It seems like. Do you
Yes,
have
it
a
does.
favorite
So
black paper? But
say that again, Bailey.
do you have a favorite black paper? Would you say like
I do.
go-to?
I do. Well, being a deputy editor, I have read all of them, but I do have some favorites and some that immediately come to mind that I think maybe folks wouldn't think of right off top would be Rooted Resilience, Black Land Ownership.
Ooh,
That's something very important, about, home ownership, owning our properties, owning our, where we are. So ownership is just so important for us. Securing Black America, that paper takes a deep dive into national security factors, whether it's on the internet, how we're subjected to a lot of misinformation and disinformation. Let's see what else. Of course, higher education.
yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Given I'm in the field, we have another paper that talks about the black male college rate drastically dropping in this country. So those are the ones that jump out the most to me.
Black male,
Yes.
black male here. Why do you think that is? What is your kind of antidote to the black male college rate, dude? Can you summarize one of those?
Like why it's happening, why we're seeing a
Yeah.
decline. Yeah, I mean, we are seeing more women go for higher education than our black men. I think, and I'm speaking from my personal view as an educator, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of black men in our schools, and I would say maybe seasoned black men who our young men and boys can see as teachers and role models in that facet that can strongly encourage those students to go on to higher education. A lot of studies show that a lot of students who have black teachers early on, at least starting from middle school into high school, they're likely to continue into higher ed, where they can actually build that college going culture. And a lot of times, too, I think just a lack of awareness of the opportunities. They're seeing the ticket price, which is astronomical. As we know, like tuition has gone up just about every single year, but we're not really seeing a push for trying to figure out what's the alternative. Okay.
Right.
Instead of asking, do I qualify for scholarships? How can we reframe that and say, well, what scholarships do I qualify for? So I think those are a few of the factors. And then we're probably going to see those numbers increase, unfortunately, considering, with diversity, equity, inclusion being removed from a lot of things, affirmative action being overturned by the Supreme Court a couple years ago. So you just have all of these things that are just going to gravely affect us continuing our education.
Right. So, uh, give me the. I think our male enrollment is going to increase. How does how would that happen? How do we get enrollment to increase? We know because they pulled back DEI and affirmative action. We saw actually. Did we even see a decline in African American men or any? I thought we saw a decrease in white Americans, increase in Asian Americans, increase in Indian Americans. How do we get an increase in African Americans from this type of legislative environment?
I would
And people
definitely
making
say,
that vote.
yeah, one way how we can get an increase is just going back to that community piece. We can't just rely on this information to be disseminated through our schools, right? It's one thing what we're learning in school, sometimes what we're not learning in school, and what are we actually learning at home. And I know sometimes our day-to-day lives can be crazy. A lot of parents are overwhelmed. So I think it's not that they don't care, it's just they're just so focused on just trying to make life that maybe they're not necessarily carving out the time. But if we can just pull them in for a second to realize this is something that's impacting you, and they realize, oh my goodness, this is something that I care about, then they'll actually carve out the time. So I think we need to actually make the effort in our community outside of school to cultivate the want to continue our education, and to show the benefits of that, whether it's different mentorship programs. Just to give you an example of something the Scholarship Plug started recently, we have a partnership with Equal Path Solutions and the African American Research Library and Cultural Center on the famous District Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. The program is called Aspire, and it's for 10th through 12th grade Broward County students. It's a mentoring program and it's free. All you have to do is apply. And what you'll get is a mentor, one on one coaching, workshops, college tours, getting to interact with other professionals, right? Kids are motivated, especially when they actually see someone or being introduced to someone or crossing paths with someone who's actually in the field that they're considering. It's inspiring. And even when students apply to scholarships and they receive a scholarship, it's a confidence builder. They take that away as, wow, someone actually wants to invest in me and my future. And now they're inspired to continue and to do more. So I think it's just those little things. And we have to reinforce that outside of the community and not just school,
Right.
to
And
encourage
I
our.
don't. I prefer, my personal opinion. I prefer we remove so much government dependence on some of these items and take over those spaces. Take over education if we can. Take over economics if we can. Uh, take over home ownership if we can. I think once we own the totality of the circumstances, I think we'll be in a better position. And it seems like when I'm reading the black papers, I mean, it's a very, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like a Project 25 response.
Oh, wow. That's
Like
powerful.
it seems like a drawn out plan in which if we reach maybe 50% of those, 20% of those things, I think the community will be a better off community. I
Yes.
mean, and we had somebody in the Miss Lucas actually. How can we get the black papers? How can they
Yes.
get the black papers? They go to.
So it's easy to access the black papers. You can go to our website, stateoftheppl.com, or just stateoftheppl.com /black papers if you want to go directly there. All the black papers are uploaded. They are digital. They are protected, so you can't download them just yet, which this is a perfect segue for me to share that later on this year, the Black Papers will actually be published into a book later on in 2026. So you can actually physically read the book. That will be volume one and more to come. So I hope that our people, especially, will see that these are our love letters to you. And just to your point, Bailey, about government dependence. I'm just a little bit careful as to how I speak on that, because the reality is, yes, we should be creative. We need to support our black businesses more. We need to, be in community with each other more. That looks like a variety of ways, but unfortunately, the reality is we cannot escape being involved in government in some facet. So we have to be strategic and smart about it. I also want to imply that, State of the People, we are not like a partisan organization. We're not telling you who to vote for. We want to make sure that you have information so that you can make informed decisions for yourself and your family and your communities. And just have a basic understanding of, okay, what's going to be the best delivery system. Um, well, I always share this quote. I can't remember the exact book, but politics are not about personalities. It's about our interests. So, what are your interests? I kind of
Yes.
look at it as, who are my best opponents, that I can either have harm reduction from my community, or that we can push or force their hand to deliver on some of these demands that we have, for example, in the Black Papers Policy Project.
Right. And again, I love the breakdown. We got to do a segment now. I'm requesting, this is a personal request. We got to do a Black Beauty segment, like the business of Black Beauty. I've always had a concept when I got into the salon business. And I said, if there's one industry that is insulated from external, or not insulated, but kind of resistant to external factors, was the Black church,
Yes.
the beauty salon and barbershop, and our entertainment. And we've seen each one of those now being encroached upon from outside, people from outside our community, capitalism, et cetera. But still, we are the most resistant. Like when we came into the salon, it was, it was us. You come in there, you're able to talk and have a conversation about your culture and community, and it's a safe space. So we got to do a black paper on that. And one of the things we always try
I
to
think
do
that
is,
would be great.
okay,
Yeah, definitely. And it just reminds me to always think of Dr. King's last book that was published posthumously, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos and Community. He pretty much lays it out, telling us to always maintain our militancy. And he highlights all of our black organizations, our Greek organizations, the Black Church, some of the things that you just mentioned, right? The salon, all of our community spaces. What are we doing to connect and leverage our organizations, and history will tell us, even as we study, the civil rights movement and all of the leaders we've known before us, it's always been young people leading the movement. And, even though we might always be in perpetual disagreement per se about the actual strategies or tactics, we've always remained aligned in the common goal, which is true
right,
liberation and freedom for our people. So if we stick to that goal, we can
right.
sort out everything else.
And I like, we're gonna move into our lightning round question, but I want to just really go back to that last point you made, which was a lot of times, as long as we keep the common goal, I just want our community to be comfortable. And when you get in law school, you'll be even more adapt to the comfortability of one common goal, but it's okay to have a totally different approach to get there.
Yes.
And a lot of times we expect everybody to be on the same page. And in reality, that's almost just not a reality, because
Not.
different perspectives, different histories, different experiences cause for different viewpoints. But as long as a common goal, I think the answer is typically right in the middle,
Yes.
compromising, and as long as we keep the common goal, I think that's where we found the best outcomes. And that friction that our Constitution puts together makes these conflict between the government, the people, the state, the judges. I like these conflicts, and as a fan of political science, these conflicts for me, I don't take them personally. I
Yeah.
understand how they create this great union. And I think what you guys are doing is amazing at State of the People because you're breaking it
Yeah.
down for us to digest and deliver it into something that we can use as a tool moving forward. So we're going to get some exposure for that. I'm going to add it to my personal best and recommendation list. So moving on to the lightning round, we got 5 minutes left. So quick fire, don't think about it. The goal is for you to go shoot
Okay.
from the hip. Um, One word to describe your journey so far.
Oh, one word to describe my journey. Resilient.
Resilient. All right. First thing you think of when you hear black papers.
Love letters.
I love that term too. Biggest lessons from your college experience.
Always be open to trying new things.
Okay. LSAT in one word.
The bane. It's this one word or one sentence. The bane of my existence.
Ain't
But
about
I'll
oh man.
defeat.
Um,
I'm gonna defeat it.
okay. We're gonna work on that. We got all right. One habit that changed your life.
Prayer.
Prayer. Woo. Miss Lucas gonna love that one. Here's a good one. A book or resource everyone should tap into.
The black papers when it comes out later this
All right.
year.
Something people get wrong about politics.
Say it again, Bailey. I think I didn't hear the last part.
Something people get wrong about scholarship.
That they don't qualify.
And for the final question, advice to your younger self.
Be fearless.
And thank you for your contribution today. Thank you for supporting all of the Epsilons. Thank you for supporting Gimme the Mics. And thank you for your work that you're doing into the community. At Gimme the Mic, we are all about motivating, inspiring, and cultivating our future leaders of this country. And thank you for aligning and partnering with us today. And we will pass the mic back to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.